All right, good evening, guys. I'm back as promised after a brief intermission and have a coffee, have a little snack. I'm very pro fruitcake. If you ever never had fruitcake, it's just basically cake full of like fruit stuff, like cherries and raisins and stuff. And after I have one slice, I'm extremely in a good mood. So I'm very pro fruitcake. Um, but ironically, when I was young, I was not pro fruitcake. I thought fruitcake was for a lot like older fuddy-duddy people. And now that I'm older, I find that I'm very pro fruitcake. So that's the introduction to today's topic, how to write a cover letter. And coincidentally, how to write a good cover letter is also how to write a direct marketing letter or a sales introduction letter. They're very similar, and if you follow this format, I think you'll have a very appealing letter. Will it win the race? I can't guarantee that because I'm going to use a metaphor or a simile or a analogy. I'm not really sure which of the three, um, but what I'm going to show you is like um, making a taco shell from scratch, and what you stuff in it, the meat and potatoes, is really your experience and your education. My eyeglass is a little bit dirty. Um, so it doesn't guarantee that you will win the race because you might have a very good taco shell. I was rolling my own cigarettes, and but your meat and potatoes might not be the best on the market because if you've ever peeked at another person's resume, you know there are exceptional talents out there, right? But do what you can, be honest, and so let's start by making that taco shell that I call cover letter, um, which can be used as a direct marketing letter or a sales introduction letter using this template. And once again, I'm not sure if it's a simile, analogy, or metaphor. So I leave that as extra homework for you guys. Okay, so let's share the screen, shall we? Screen share. Share. Okay, so I already started this outline. Um, and can you see it? It starts with it's called cover letter, right? And for my cover letter, I like to start with a headline. All right, and a headline um, ought to be. Let's take this headline. Oh, put down here. A headline. All right, a headline ought to be a fact. All right, a fact is something that can be verified. Like they might call your mommy, they might call your last boss, they might call your school. All right, so that's a fact. Um, they can measure it. If you say you got the highest grades in the state, they can measure that, right? If you got, if they say you got the, if you say you got the prettiest handwriting in the state, they can't measure that. But if you say you got the highest grades in calculus, they can measure that. All right. So a headline ought to be a fact that they can measure, like the highest grades in the state, not the prettiest handwriting, something they cannot measure, or that you smell the prettiest in the state. Okay, they really can't measure that. But if you say you have the least um, microbacteria germs on your face in the state, they might be able to measure that. But who the hell is going to measure that if they're just looking for a key manager? You know what the fuck I'm talking about, shithead? All right, so let's start with a headline. An example of a headline, let's say we're talking about key manager, right? You can say something like use one adjective, um, well, like store key manager available immediately. Right? Like that, well-liked store key manager available immediately. That's your headline. So how does it start? It goes like this. It goes like, here, you, right? Headline. Well-liked store key manager available immediately. And you do an intro, right? What I call an intro. So I'll take the intro up there, put it down here. And intro can be a little bit subjective. Subjective means, kind of like flowery, this is where you can actually say you smell the nicest and you got the cleanest hair in the state. All right. So you can say something like this. You can say something like, well-liked store key manager available immediately. All right. You can say, for the last, 3 years, I am being the most successful store key manager for XVI forever. You know what I mean? Forever, right? And then I always try to do my whole superstitious thing is I try to do at least 3 sentences, right? The last 2 years I've been the most successful store key manager for XYY forever. All right. And then you say, what else can you actually say? You can say like everyone I worked with complimented me on my appearance and smell. Hence, I was given task. I was assigned task of opening and closing the store every day for the last 3 years. Okay, you can say something like that, right? So that gets, you start with a headline, and then you can go with something like this, right? And then you go benefits, right? What's the difference between benefits and features, right? So I'll tell you what the benefits is, but you go benefits, right? And then you want to focus on the job you're going for. So maybe now you want to be like store manager. You were like the key manager. Now you want to be the store manager, right? And you can say the benefits like this. I was the only employee to open and close the store every day, right? Because I spent so much time at work, I was able to learn everything there is to know about running a store. In addition, I also finished a college diploma in store retail management, right? And then the benefit, these are sort of like the benefit, like these are, you read this, if you're just reading this for somebody, you'll be like, oh, that's pretty good, right? And then you can say something like, I want to be a store manager who will always be there and never miss a day of work, right? Except for extreme sickness, right? And then to back up your benefits, you gotta go features. And features are like little. I'll call it mini facts. All right, mini facts. And so mini facts is like, um, I have been, I start, mini fact. I started, I have been in retail for the last 10 years and a store key manager for the last 3. All right. I graduated top of my high school class, right? And have earned my diploma in retail management. All right. And then you say, I have never missed a day of work, and I am always first to be there and the last to leave, right? I also know how to count money and take it to the bank. In addition to supervising other employees and I don't know, and dressing the window, right? So now you got intro, benefits, features, and then so features are like mini facts, right? And then lastly, you can't tell them how to contact you, right? So put something like this. You can contact me. You can contact me by email or phone. All right. And I will reply right away if I am not there. All right. And that's it. That's all you had to do. And then you go sincerely. AnhTu. That's your cover letter. There's something missing, and I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what's missing. All right. And you can look at this is extra work as well. It's a term called conjunctive adverbs. And by definition, it means directional condition words. And some examples are like, you can say and, or you can say in addition to, or you can say but, and you can also say contrary, against popular opinion, right? These are transitional words, right? And you can say therefore. You can also say therefore. You can say on top of, or you can say for lack thereof. You would, right? Unless you really don't want to work. So you got to look up these conjunctive adverbs, right? A list of them, and they're called directional transitional words, because when you string 2 facts together, right? Like when you string 2 facts together, you got fact number 1, and then are you going to use but, or are you going to use and, or are you going to use therefore, or are you going to use on top of, or are you going to use for lack thereof the other fact, right? So what are you going to use? So that is called conjunctive adverbs, all right? And you connect fact one, the other fact with a conjunctive adverb, all right? So that's basically in a nutshell. And let's take a look at this funny letter, all right? So let's remove all these things, and I'll share this template with you and this video. You can see exactly how it's done. See, I'm a very nice guy because what I do is very hard. I want to be out by 5 so that we all have a life. We watch TV, meet up with somebody at happy hour, or spend time with our main squeeze. So if I happen to end up leading your team, you can expect out by 5s, so you can find a main squeeze to hug and kiss. You know what I mean? Leave the sales guys to go to all the red carpet stuff. You know what I mean? We buy our own drinks. All right, so for ourselves. All right, so this is your little letter, right? So let's read this funny little letter. Dear you, and then the headline goes, well-liked store key manager available immediately. The last 3 years, I'd be the most successful store key manager for XVI forever. Everyone I worked with complimented me on my appearance and smell. Hence, I was assigned the task of opening and closing the store every day for the last 3 years. I was the only employee to open and close the store every day because I spent so much time at work. I was able to learn everything there is to know about running a store. In addition, I also finished a college diploma in store retail management. I want to be a store manager who will always be there and never miss a day of work except for extreme sickness. I've been in retail for the last 10 years and store key manager for the last 3. I graduated top of high school class, have earned my diploma in retail management. I've never missed a day of work, and I'm always the first to be there and the last to leave. I also know how to count money, and I take it to the bank in addition to supervising other employees and dressing the window. You can contact me by email or phone, and I will reply right away if I am not there. Sincerely, AnhTu. All right, that is just a pithy little cover letter, and you can, if you're selling something, you can use that format as well. You know, which is intro, headline, intro, benefits, features, and then your name. All right. So let's reiterate: headline, introduction, benefits, features, and your name. Did I make that up? I did not make that up. I found it in a book at a library that I was never able to find again. All right, now here's a little bit of unbalanced humor, right? There's been like 2 great books in my life I've never been able to find again. All right, that book on how to write a good sales marketing letter, and a blue book on sex. Those 2 have been like probably the greatest books of my life. I've never been able to find again. I don't know what happened to them after I borrowed them. They're never there. I swear to goodness gracious. So what I'm telling you is extremely hard to find. Everybody's got their own little version of a sales letter, but I found this version in a book at a library I've never been able to find again. And I swear I went back, I looked at every book, I could not find it again. And also a little blue book on sex. So I hope you enjoyed my resume cover letter coaching tip today. This might end up on Com Giving as well, because it has to do with writing a sales letter. I'll see you later. Kimosabi. Bye bye.